And thus, I will extend for 1 year the freeze on paperwork and unnecessary federal regulation that I imposed last winter. There is no reason that federal regulations should live longer than my friend George Burns. And I will issue an order to get rid of any rule whose time has come and gone. And I see something happening in our towns and in our neighborhoods. Sharp lawyers are running wild. Doctors are afraid to practice medicine, and some moms and pops won't even coach Little League anymore. We must sue each other less and care for each other more. Fighting to reform our legal system, to put an end to crazy lawsuits, and if that means climbing into the ring with the trial lawyers, well, let me just say, round one starts tonight. After all, my opponent's campaign is being backed by practically every trial lawyer who ever wore a tasseled loafer. He's not in the ring with him, he's in the tank. There are other things we need to do to get our economy up to speed, prepare our kids for the next century. We must have new incentives for research and new training for workers. Small businesses need capital and credit, and defense workers need new jobs. And I have a plan to provide affordable health care for every American, controlling costs by cutting paperwork and lawsuits, and expanding coverage to the poorest of the poor. We do not need my opponent's plan for a massive government takeover of health care, which would ration care and deny you the right to choose a doctor. Who wants health care? Who wants health care with a system with the efficiency of the House Post Office and the compassion of the KGB? What about our schools? My opponent and I both want to change the way our kids learn. He wants to change our schools a little bit, and I want to change them a lot. Take the issue of whether parents should be able to choose the best school for their kids. My opponent says that's okay, as long as the school is run by government, and I say every parent and child should have a real choice of schools, public, private, or religious. So we have a clear choice to fix our problems. Do we turn to the tattered blanket of bureaucracy that other nations are tossing away? Or do we give our people the freedom and incentives to build security for themselves? Here's what I'm fighting for: open markets for American products, lower government spending, tax relief, opportunities for small business, legal and health reform, job training, and new schools built on competition, ready for the 21st century. Why are these proposals not in effect today? Only one reason: the gridlock Democratic Congress. A very good idea. A very good idea. Now, I know Americans are tired of the blame game, tired of people in Washington acting like they're candidates for the next episode of American Gladiators. I don't like it either. Neither should you. But the truth is the truth. Our policies have not failed. They haven't even been tried. Americans want jobs, and on January 28th, I put before Congress a plan to create jobs. And if it had been passed back then, 500,000 more Americans would be at work right now. But in a nation that demands action, Congress has become the master of inaction. And it wasn't always this way. I heard President Ford tonight. I served in Congress 22 years ago under him. And back then we cooperated. We didn't get personal. We put the people above everything else. Heck, we didn't even own blow dryers back in those days. At my first inauguration, I said that people didn't send us to bicker. I extended my hand, and I think the American people know this. I extended my hand to the congressional leaders, the Democratic leaders, and they bit it. And the House leadership has not changed in 38 years. It is a body caught in a hopelessly tangled web of PACs, perks, privileges, partnership, and paralysis. Every day, Congress puts politics ahead of principle and above progress. Now, let me give you just one example. February 20th, 1991. It was at the height of the Gulf War. On that very same day, I asked American pilots to risk their lives to fly missions over Baghdad. And I also wanted to strengthen our economic security for the future. So that very same day, I introduced a new domestic energy strategy, which would cut our dependence on foreign oil by 7 million barrels a day. And how many days did it take to win the Gulf War? 43. And how many did it take Congress to pass a national energy strategy? 532, and still counting. I have ridden stationary bikes that can move faster than the United States House of Representatives and the United States Senate, controlled by the Democrat leadership. Okay? All right? You wait. I'm fixing to. Where does my opponent stand with Congress? Well, up in New York at their convention, they kept the congressional leaders away from the podium, hid them away. They didn't want America to hear from the people who really make the decisions, and they hid them for a very good reason, because the American people would recognize a dangerous combination: a rubber check Congress and a rubber stamp president. Governor Clinton and Congress know that you've caught on to their lingo. They know when they say spending, you say, uh-oh. So now they have a new word, investment. They want to invest $220 billion more of your money, but I want you to keep it. Governor Clinton and Congress want to put through the largest tax increase in history, but I will not let that happen. And Governor Clinton and Congress don't want kids to have the option of praying in school, but I do. Clinton and Congress don't want to close legal loopholes and keep criminals behind bars, but I will. Clinton and Congress will stack the judiciary with liberal judges who write laws they can't get approved by the voters. Governor Clinton even says Mario Cuomo belongs on the Supreme Court. Now, wait a minute, though. No, wait. Maybe not a bad idea. If you believe in judicial restraint, you probably ought to be happy. After all, the good governor of New York can't make up his mind between chocolate and vanilla at Baskin-Robbins. He's there, we won't have another court decision for 35 years. And maybe that's all right, too. Are my opponent and Congress really in cahoots? Look at one important question. Should we limit the terms of Congress? Governor Clinton says no, Congress says no, and I say yes. We tried this. Look, we tried this once before, combining the Democratic governor of a small southern state with a very liberal vice president and a Democratic Congress. America does not need Carter II. We do not want to take America back to those days of malaise, but Americans want to know, where's proof that we will have better days in Washington? I'll give you 150 reasons, and that's how many members of Congress are expected to leave Washington this year. Some are tainted by scandal. The voters have bounced them the way they bounce their own checks. But others are good members, Republican and Democrat, and they agree with me, the place just doesn't work anymore. 150 new members from both parties will be coming to Washington this fall. And everyone will have a fresh view of America's future. And I pledge today to the American people, immediately after this election, I will meet with every one of these members before they get attacked by the PACs, overwhelmed by their staffs, and cornered by some camera crew. And I will lay out my case for change. Change that matters, real change that makes a difference, change that is right for America. You see, there's a yearning in America, a feeling that maybe it's time to get back to our roots. Sure, we must change, but some values are timeless. I believe in families that stick together, fathers who stick around, and I happen to believe very deeply in the worth of each individual human being, born or unborn. And I believe And I believe in teaching our kids the difference between what's wrong and what's right, teaching them respect for hard work and to love their neighbors. And I believe that America will always have a special place in God's heart, as long as He has a special place in ours. And maybe that's why I've always believed that patriotism is not just another point of view. There are times in every young person's life when God introduces you to yourself. And I remember such a time. It was back many years ago when I stood watch at 4 a.m. up on the bridge of a submarine, the United States Finback, USS Finback. And I would stand there and look out at the blackness of the sky, broken only by the sparkling stars above. And I would think about friends I lost, a country I loved, and about a girl named Barbara. And I remember those nights as clearly as any in my life. You know, you can see things from up there that other people don't see. You can see storm clouds rise and then disappear. The first hint of the sun over the horizon and the first outline of the shore far away. And now I know that Americans are uneasy today. There's anxious talk around our kitchen tables. But from where I stand, I see not America's sunset, but a sunrise. And the world changes for which we've sacrificed for a generation have finally come to pass, and with them a rare and unprecedented opportunity to pass the sweet cup of prosperity around our American table. And are we up to it? I know we are. As I travel our land, I meet veterans who once worked the turrets of a tank and can now master the keyboards of high-tech economy. I see teachers blessed with the incredible American capacity for innovation who are teaching our children a new way to learn for a new century. And I meet parents, some working 2 jobs with hectic schedules, who still find new ways to teach old values to steady their kids in a turbulent world. And I take heart from what is happening in America, not from those who profess a new passion for government, but from those with an old and enduring faith in the human potential, those who understand that the genius of America is our capacity for rebirth and renewal. America is the land where the sun is always peeking over the horizon. And tonight, I appeal to that unyielding, undying, undeniable American spirit. I ask you to consider, now that the entire world is moving our way, why would we want to go back their way? I ask not just for your support for my agenda, but for your commitment to renew and rebuild our nation by shaking up one institution that has withstood change for over 4 decades. Join me in rolling away the roadblock. Join me in rolling away the roadblock at the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue so that the next 4 years we will match our accomplishments outside by building a stronger, safer, more secure America inside. 44 years ago, in another age of uncertainty, a different president embarked on a similar mission. His name was Harry S. Truman. And as he stood before his party to accept their nomination, Harry Truman knew the freedom I know this evening. The freedom to talk about what's right for America and let the chips fall where they may. Harry Truman said this: "This is more than a political call to arms. Give me your help not to win votes alone, but to win this new crusade and keep America safe and secure for its own people. Well, tonight I say to you, join me in our new crusade to reap the rewards of our global victory, to win the peace so that we may make America safer and stronger for all our people. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
President George Herbert Walker Bush opening his campaign for re-election as President of the United States. The President's acceptance of renomination speech lasted just over 56 minutes. Governor Bill Clinton's acceptance speech in New York was about 53 minutes. Now the script calls for the Quayers to join them on cue. The first balloon drop will be coming up. There it is. The largest convention balloon drop in history. We are told a total of 180,000 balloons. This equals 113 balloons per delegate, a world record. If you're asking who pays for this, the answer is both parties get a certain amount of tax money to put these conventions on. Well, let's go up to the podium where our chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer is in the spirit of things with this balloon drop, confetti spreading grand finale. And if you think his headgear looks strange, it's that Bob cam we've been talking about all week. Yes, it's true. He's wearing a camera on his head. Robert?
Well, I guess we could call these exclusive head cam pictures here, Dan. I'm just simply looking straight up, and this is where most of the balloons are coming down. I'm going to kind of pan down, as it were, now. And you can see these balloons are really piling up. It raises the question, I guess, as how the President and Mrs. Bush are going to get out of here once we must have 4 feet deep in balloons here, and now here comes the confetti.
Bob, it's a good thing you can write. I don't think you're going to make it as a network cameraman.
Well, we're working on it, Dan.
Now stay tuned. There'll be fireworks later. The idea here is to give a George M. Cohan kind of ending to the Republican Convention of 1992. Get this, in front of the Texas delegation fairly soon, there's going to be a 5-foot cylinder begin to rise out of seemingly nowhere. It'll go up 4 or 5 feet if it's under control, and atop it will be singer Sandy Patty. That's right, she will begin singing God Bless America, and then segue into America the Beautiful. That'll be just after a huge flag and pearls from the ceiling. Well, let me say about halfway through. You know, Charles Kroll, I never look at one of these scenes and I don't think to myself, whatever you think of them, Democrats or Republicans, it takes a lot to get here, and you can't blame them for saying that.
This is the most spectacular celebration I've ever seen in 35 years of convention going down. This is really something.
Well, we were talking earlier, it would do justice to a Rossini or Wagner opera ending. Sandy Patty.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea,
Wait, there's more. Fireworks to go off from the tops of the video walls and the top of the arch over the podium backdrop. No, we're not making this up. Here it comes. Ed Bradley's somewhere down there in the Idaho delegation. Well, folks, let's go down here where this all started. How are they feeling now, Ed?
Dan, I think they're feeling pretty good now. It's hard not to. I'm with Larry Eastland, who is a delegate from Idaho. We've been talking to each night. I know you were concerned coming into this because you were behind. How are you feeling after tonight?
Well, we really did start out, I think, pessimistic and scared, Ed. But we're really optimistic, but still scared. There's a lot of work to do.
Scared because you're behind?
Scared because we're behind. Scared because it's a tough campaign. The economy is not the best that it should be, and people always understand what their pocketbook means. But optimistic because the president had to connect tonight, and that's what he did with the American people. He connected, and that was great.
So you're feeling good going out of here?
Absolutely. Voters in the summer, they like to spend money and go on vacation, but when they have to buy clothes for the kids in September, that's when they make hard choices. We think they'll make ours.
Thank you very much, Dan. I think you'll find that feeling that's a feeling a lot of people have here, that they came in feeling somewhat defensive and scared because they're behind. And now, after this convention, they feel they did what they had to do, and they have a good chance in this election.
Thanks, Ed. This is Connie Chung's birthday, and Connie, you're down there in the California delegation. I can only say, when you throw a party, woman, you throw a party.
Thanks, Sam. I'm glad you didn't ask me how old I am. I'm with Senator John Seymour of California. He's in a tough race against former Mayor of San Francisco, Dianne Feinstein. There really wasn't that much new in President Bush's speech. Is he going to be able to pull it out for you and for himself in California?
Well, in California, voters are very independent, Connie, but what I felt good about tonight was not me, but about George Bush. He had to hit a grand slam home run, and he did it. He did it.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely.
What did you think about what did you think about the checkoff deficit proposal?
It's a fantastic idea. You know what he's doing? He's going right over the heads of Congress and saying to the people, help me. If this is what you want me to do, let's get with it.
All right, Dan, we are, you know what, deep in balloons, so we better say goodbye. Back to you, Dan.
Happy birthday to you. With me here in the CBS News anchor booth, where you got the best seat in the house. It's my old friend Charles Perrault. You know, Charles, even if God continues to grant us great grace and blesses us, we won't see many nights like tonight.
No, it was something. I would just like to remark, though, that I think most of the fireworks were up there on the stage. The president's speech was a little short on the kind of fireworks that he may need. I thought that there was a shortage of new initiatives in this speech. He obviously plans to run, as Harry Truman did in 1948, blasting the Congress all the way. And he got off to a good start blasting the Congress tonight. But if what we've been saying these last few months, that what's really on people's minds is jobs and the economy, I wonder if the president helped himself enough tonight.
Well, we soon find out as the pace of the campaign now begins to pick up. And as we watch the celebration begin to wind down with the thought that there's no place like the Dome, the storylines of the night include these. The conventions are over. The campaign begins to accelerate. 72 days to Election Day, maybe 72 hours before we know how big or small the post-convention bounce works for the Bush-Quayle ticket. But worth reminding ourselves there is still a long way to go until